Hey everybody, Kaoiji here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Salon and all of its changes. This actually came at a request of quite a few of you guys. So again, as always, thank you guys again for watching any of my videos and even commenting down below. So when you go into the Salon, you'll be met with a series of new features: edit head, edit body, edit fashion, edit other, and miscellaneous tests. Miscellaneous tests hasn't really changed at all. It's basically your lobby actions, your motion tests, your field tests, and your facial expression tests. This is something that's already been available in the Salon shop, even in the old engine. Edit other basically now means that you'll be able to edit your voice, your body type sync settings, which when you go into body type sync settings, you are then presented with two other options. These options making it so that way you can edit different items for the PS2 New Genesis body type and then the PS2 original model. Basically, this will try to keep both of the body shapes in sync with one another. And then the other option is, even if the human and cast bodies are the same, they can appear different. When this setting is turned on, items related to the body shape will then sync. This basically goes to whether or not you're using a human or a cast body type, making it so that way you can sync both of them, so that way everything looks kind of sort of the same when you swap between fashion. Now, in base PS2, edit run animation is actually currently disabled. The meaning for that is because that's going to be an option that we're going to be getting in New Genesis that allows us to be able to change our overworld run animation. And then you also have the other three options, to just edit head, edit body, and edit fashion. We're going to start with edit head. So when you select edit head, you'll be then presented with the face as the first option. From here, you'll be able to go into the top option and then select whether or not you're going to be using the New Genesis type face types, or if you're going to be using the PS2 original face types. Now, these are actually very interchangeable and they don't require star gems to be able to change the actual face itself. So if you wanted to go back into using something that you were using previously, you'll be able to do so. The only downside to this is depending on whether or not you've been using one of the previous settings, the adjust contours and face part adjustments will actually then sync between both of them, making it so that way the PS2 original faces look really weird if you were using the PS2 New Genesis faces, and then vice versa. So keep in mind that if you are going to be switching over to the New Genesis type face, or even switching back to the PS2 original type face, you will need to do some adjusting. The next is hair and head parts. This one's actually really cool because not only are you able to now use the cast heads, but you're also now able to use any hairstyle that was previously deemed for female only. And same thing for female characters, it's any hairstyle that was previously deemed for male only. The other thing that's here to note is that if you are using a New Genesis head type, you are able to still use the cast heads, and you're also able to still use any of your older hairstyles that you previously acquired. So even if it is not a New Genesis specific hair type, you can still use that on the New Genesis head. Neck adjustments haven't really changed. The only other thing is that it's a little bit more defined on how thick your neck is going to get and how long your neck is. Now, when you go into your pupils, this is now where a lot of players are going to be a little bit sad when it comes to the way that their eyes are going to be looking. If you are using a New Genesis head type, you cannot use any of the older eyes. And then if you're using a PS2 head type, you cannot use any of the newer features that are now available. So when using a New Genesis head type, you can now select the eye pattern from any of the New Genesis specific eyes. But from there, you can also then choose whether or not you want both of the eyes to remain the same. So for example, if you then had a different left eye pattern, you can change that eye almost completely. And then if you wanted to then change the eye color, you can remove the eye color sync command and then change it to something of a different color. So basically, not only can you have your characters have two different eye colors, but they can have two different eye shapes as well. So for those of you guys who wanted to relive your Itachi cosplays, you finally can. Now with the eye settings itself, this really hasn't changed much. The only difference is you can actually adjust the eyelid height on both of your eyes. So if let's say you wanted to have a sleepy eyed character, you could definitely do that. Or if you just wanted to have one eye closed while the other eye is open, you can do that as well. For those of you guys who are now anime cosplayers and you've been trying to fulfill every anime dream where you have one character who cannot open his eye because he has a scar over that eye, you can finally do that too. Eyebrows are a little bit weird here as well, because not only can you give the ability to be able to sync with your hair color, but you can only use New Genesis eyebrows on the New Genesis head types, meaning you cannot use older eyebrows on the New Genesis heads. Pretty much the same thing goes with eyelashes as well. You can't use the older hairstyles or eyelash styles to be able to then use them on the New Genesis ones. You have to only use New Genesis ones. Your nose adjustments are pretty much the same. Your nose adjustments are pretty much the same as well. The only difference is that when using the new Genesis body type, your nose seems to be, I don't know, a little bit bigger than it did before. So with female characters, it gets a little bit odd to be able to make them look right. And it takes a lot of effort to be able to find the perfect one or perfect ones for your character. And now that leaves us with going over to the mouth adjustments. You can go over to the mouth adjustment section to be able to change the way that the mouth actually looks. You can go over to mouth height. Then you can also select teeth and tongue. This is specific to the new Genesis head types. And by default, you're pretty much met with normal teeth or even fang teeth. And then again, a normal tongue. I don't know if they're going to add more of, tongues and teeth later on, but if they do, I think that'll be really cool. Now, the moment I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for, which is tongue adjustments. By using the slider going from left to right, you can choose the length in which you want your tongue to stick out of your mouth. Yeah, I see you, you filthy degenerate. I see you. Don't worry. I've been down that road before. I've experimented. The other cool thing is you can actually sync the mouth morphing as well. So if, let's say, you wanted the right side of your mouth to be higher than others, then you could definitely do that as well. By syncing the mouth morphing, basically, if you choose to move one side, they both move, so you can give your character a perpetual smile. Or if you choose to unsync them, you can have your character do a perpetual smirk. I actually think this is kind of cool. This is going to make my character smug 24/7, and you know what? I'm all for it. The next is ears and horns. By selecting this option, you can select any of the new ear styles, again, that are new Genesis specific. And it goes from any of the ear styles that were from Dooman, Newman, and also Cast. I actually have a feeling that more ear styles will be available in the future as well, considering the fact that some of these are a little bit lamer than others. And if that's the case, that's really cool too. You can also select whether or not you wanted the Cast horns or even the Dooman horns. I don't know, maybe they'll give us new horns to be able to get as well. Like the Oni accessories, just make them natural horns to the character. Yeah, I'm okay with that. And then now leaving us out with makeup patterns. The only issue with makeup patterns that people seem to be having is that the older makeups are no longer working on the new Genesis style heads. So basically any of the makeup that you currently collected on your character is not available when it comes to new Genesis heads. There are specific makeups that will be available for the new Genesis heads, and currently as of right now, there are only 2 that I know of on the Japanese side. But one added feature is you can actually choose whether or not you want it to be super intense or you want it to be super light. So there are some advantages by moving over into the new makeup styles as well. And then finally going over into the body types. All right, so this is where a lot of people are going to be disappointed because a lot of your older fashion isn't updated to go into the new Genesis system. So before I continue, I need to remind you that if they updated every single one of your older outfits to the new Genesis system, that would be way too much manpower to be able to accomplish. Now, I know that sounds incredibly that's just a cop-out. But trust me, that's a lot. The only point that I could really see people making that's entirely valid right now is the fact that some of the outfits will in fact be reintroduced. I'm 90% sure. And since we'll have to pay for those again, it's kind of like why? But then also the flip side to that is when new players are coming to play new Genesis, I'm sure that they're going to want a chance to get some of those old outfits as well. Now, again, that's a whole different conversation on its own. So I leave the question off to you. What do you think? How do you feel about that? All right, but going back to the actual way that the bodies work, is it works kind of the same way that all the sliders are pretty much the same when it comes to all of the different ways that you can customize your character. The only new one that's really here is called the hand adjustment or hand thickness. So if you want your character with them thick hands, then you know that you can actually customize them here as well. And now when it comes to the waist and legs adjustment, there's one really important, adjustment that's been added here. And even if it hasn't been added, you're like, oh, well, you were able to adjust your thighs before. Listen, this just works way better now. You have some real thick thighs and they save lives. I'm such a degenerate. I'm sorry. My degeneracy is showing on a whole new level this video. I'm so sorry. But you can also adjust the cast and then the foot size as well. Now, this one I'm not entirely too sure of. It's called skin pattern selection. So far, the only ways I see the skin pattern selection working is just the way that some of the, skin color gets changed on your character. I'm sure there'll be more in the future that change the character drastically, but as of right now, I just see the skin color being rendered a little bit differently between the 2 that I currently have. And now for the other 2 options when it comes to skin color settings, you can actually set your skin color or whether you want it to be certain ways. And then with the second option, choose whether or not you want to have a hue. So a lot of players have been wondering why when they switched over to the new Genesis body type, it's actually because of the second skin color setting that allows you to change that hue on your character. So if you were wondering why your character suddenly became a lot more red, that's the second default color, well, by default. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to be adjusting not only this, but the gloss adjustment, the muscle muscle mass and their skin color to be able to get them their character the way that they truly want it. And then the last but not least is you have your body paint. Now the body paint priority system is pretty much the same as it was back in the old body types, but the difference now is the fact that older body paint can no longer be used on a new Genesis body. In addition, these just get rendered a little bit better as if they're layered on the character rather than just painted on the character. So this adds a much higher degree of character customization than it did before. And then finally, we have the fashion portion, which is your outfits, your base attire, your outerwear, and your innerwear. There are actually two ways to be able to swap between the two body types. Both of them have to be done in the salon, but it's whether or not you're using a costume, or the other way is by switching your base attire or your base wear. But base wear is also divided into two sections, which is now base wear and then set wear, which is basically set wear is now the new outfit system that's being used in New Genesis. All fashion in New Genesis is now a consumable item that you can then bind to your character. And much like the way that it was in Phantasy Star Online 2 previously, by using two of those tickets, you can then account bind it to your entire account. This transfers across ships, so you don't really have to worry too much about anything. The only difference is by changing the color on your base wear or your set wear on the New Genesis versions, you're going to need what's called an end change color pass. Global name might be different. It might just be an end color pass. I don't know. But pretty much these are color passes that are specifically dedicated to changing the set wear color in your outfit. The one thing to keep in mind is that whatever set wear color settings you change, so for example, with the outfit that I'm currently wearing, you cannot use these same colors on another base wear or set wear. So you will need a pass or a color change pass or an end color change pass for every individual base and or set wear. Now, if you're using a set wear, then you basically cannot use an outerwear item, but you can still use a outerwear if you are using a base attire. As of right now, I can't showcase the way the outerwear is going to be working on New Genesis body types because unfortunately there are no outerwears currently available at the time of recording this video. But the other cool thing is that by going to the drop down menu, you can go between the New Genesis body types and then the old body types relatively quickly and be able to swap between your base and your set wears, and it automatically changes your body as a result. As you can notice, I'm still using my New Genesis head type, so you can actually interchange between using the New Genesis head type, the old type head, and then the New Genesis head with the old type body, and you know, any other combinations in between. Costumes are really cool because they're basically going to be using the old PSO2 body types. It could potentially be that in the future there'll be costumes that'll be using the New Genesis body types, but as of right now, this is just something to keep in mind. And then there's also one really cool thing to note here is that if your outfit has decorations, so for example, your base and set wear, depending on what decorations they might have in the first place, you can actually then go ahead and hide them. Now, none of the outfits currently have any decorations to be able to hide, but this is just something that I really think is cool. And now finally going to accessories, there is one thing to note is that it's done based on a point system, not on a slot system. So certain accessories will have more points than others based on their size. So no random person in the comment section, you cannot have 18 booba. You can only have however many points you can have. I don't know how much they cost. So the other cool thing is that every accessory that you currently have acquired at any given point during the time that you've been playing PSO2 is available to use on your account. While there are New Genesis specific accessories, you don't really have to worry about having lost any of the older ones, as they'll still be able to be used on the New Genesis body types. The only thing to keep in mind is that some of them, like the hats and face masks, might sit differently on your current character when you switch over to the New Genesis site. So you might need to then use the new advanced settings to be able to change the anchor point, as well as the position, rotation, and other things of that nature. What's also really cool is you can actually change the actual color of the accessory on its own without having to worry about anything else. So no more having to worry about that certain accessories just don't match your outfit. You can actually use a ton of them and then change the colors that you would want. And the other cool thing is that in changing the anchor point, there are a ton of different options. You can either change the anchor point to either one of the individual fingers on the left and right hands. You can also change them to different parts of the body. There are 7 pages worth of different anchor points that you can put accessories on now. And one really cool feature to top things off is actually the check edits. So for example, if there was anything that you didn't want to change, or if there was something that you just don't like the change of, you can actually go to the check edits for section and then just, check them all off. So for example, I didn't like any of the changes that I did during this video. So now I'm just going to go back into the default, and now everything is just there, and I can select each and individual one without going back into then just redoing it all. All in all, my personal thoughts is that female characters take a little bit more work than male characters to be able to, make look good now. But man, do male characters look 10 times better in the new Genesis system. And that's just with minimal effort. Female characters can definitely look incredible. It's just going to take you a while to be able to get the settings right. But now going back into that, with the same character, you can actually change whether or not you want to use the masculine or feminine face types, or even by changing your set wear or your base attire, you can then choose whether or not you want to use the masculine or feminine body types. And like I mentioned before, is that whenever you do change these things, you are going to need to change the way that their body then associates us by changing the dials on the chest, thighs, and even the face when it comes to the contours and even the face part adjustments. So you're not going to be switching between male and female body types on the fly every single time, as this will still cost a ton of star gems or even Salon passes. But yeah, but all in all, but as far as character customization goes, I now leave the question again off to you. How do you think? How do you feel? Was there anything that I missed that you kind of wanted to see? But yeah, I think the character customization is probably one of the better things to come out of the new engine update, and it makes me even more excited for New Genesis just to see what new outfits and even more is going to wind up coming out into the future. But yeah, as always, leave your comments down below. I think with that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay awesome, stay beautiful. I'll see you guys next time. Peace. I'm out.